Seen Russian troops killed in Kirk's strike, says Ukraine. In sports, Akwa Ibom offers free ticket for Super Eagles versus Zimbabwe match. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. Now, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and Star Times channel 276. You can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. Now the news in full. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has emphasized that modern policing requires a strategic and progressive approach. Egbetokun stated this while decorating 20 Assistant Inspector General of Police and 19 Commissioners of Police in Abuja. Queen Agaba has the details.
The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, outlined the Nigerian Police Force's vision, built on 4 key pillars, which includes proactive policing to prevent crime, intelligence-led and technology-driven operations, community partnership to foster trust, and enhanced welfare and capacity development for officers. He urged the senior officers to align with ongoing reforms aimed at enhancing the force's operational effectiveness and building a modern, professional police institution centered on excellence, accountability, and service.
This significant achievement in the lives and careers of these officers reflect their dedication, hard work, professionalism, and perseverance. As I congratulate the newly promoted officers, I want to, however, remind you that every promotion comes with increased responsibility. It calls for elevated conduct. It's a solemn duty to lead, inspire, and uphold the highest standards of integrity.
The police boss also reminded the newly promoted officers that their leadership directly impacts the morale of those under their command. He urged them to lead by example, uphold discipline, ethics, and dedication, take decisive actions against misconduct, and ensure fairness in all dealings. While emphasizing on the importance of accountability, he noted that the public trust is a privilege that must be earned and protected.
These new roles, I urge you to lead by example, set the standard for discipline, ethics, and dedication. Uphold justice, take decisive decisions, and act decisively against misconduct and ensure fairness in all your dealings. Embrace accountability. Remember that public trust is a privilege that must be earned and protected.
The IGP expressed gratitude to the Police Service Commission for ensuring timely promotions and thanked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his commitment to equipping and improving the police force. For Global Television, Queen Agaba reporting.
The suspended senator for Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, has filed a petition to disbar the chairman, Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition. Senator Idewem Imuasun has his name removed as a lawyer. In the petition she filed before the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee, the Kogi lawmaker alleged that the New York Supreme Court Appellate Division had on May 10, 2010, indicted and disbarred the Senate Ethics Committee chairman for fraud, misappropriation of clients' funds, and failure to respond to disciplinary authorities. To back her allegation, the petitioner tendered to the LPDC a copy of the Judicial New York Case Law 2010 with the title Matter of Imuasun. Worried by scarcity of tertiary level texts in Nigeria, which has reached a crisis proportion as evident in the quality and quantity, Nigerian Tertiary Trust Fund has made a huge move to tackle this crisis by sponsoring the publication of 50 books by indigenous scholars. The unveiling event took place at the headquarters in Abuja. The report. Speaking during the unveiling of the books, Minister of Education Dr. Morufu Olatunji Alausa says the government is giving more attention to publication through TED Fund in a bid to provide adequate indigenous learning materials in tertiary educational institutions for national development and improve the global ranking of Nigeria's tertiary institutions.
For the 2025 fund, we're building capacity in a tertiary institution now. We've stopped funding postgraduate training, and that's very deliberate. We want to ensure that we bring those money back to our various campuses, where we can get our professors and lecturers to do this training. We don't need to send our citizens to Sudan. We don't need to send them to the UK to train. We have all it takes here.
Speaking earlier, the Executive Secretary of TED Fund, Architect Sonny Echono, says lack of sufficient high-quality tertiary-level textbooks prompted the establishment of a TED Fund higher education book development project. He said, is a bold and visionary initiative aimed at addressing this significant gap.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has shown a deep commitment to the advancement of education, recognizing its fundamental role in driving national growth. This commitment is reflected in the prioritization of funding and policy reforms aimed at enhancing content development and building the capacity of our public tertiary educational institutions. We want to express again our appreciation to Mr. President for his gracious approval of the 2025 disbursement guideline, which witnessed a very significant.
The lack of sufficient high-quality tertiary-level textbooks has reached a critical point in Nigeria. The shortage is not only seen in the limited quantity of the books available, but also in the quality of what is produced locally. This crisis prompted the establishment of TED Fund Higher Education Book Development Project, a bold and visionary initiative aimed at addressing this significant gap. Jumai Manson reporting for Global Television. The federal government has assured members of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, that the backlog of their newly approved 77,000 naira monthly allowance will be paid, despite months of delay. The government also dismissed reports of any disciplinary action against a Corps member, Uche Ogamaye, who criticized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on social media recently. Minister of Youth Development Ayodele Olawande reaffirmed the government's commitment to fulfilling its promise to Corps members. Justice Obiara Uwatu of the Federal High Court in Abuja stepped down from a case involving suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan. Justice Uwatu was assigned to hear the suit, but he announced that he would no longer handle the matter. He made the decision after Senate President Godswill Akpabio wrote a petition questioning his impartiality. Although the case was scheduled for hearing, when the court clerk called it up, the judge ruled that he was stepping aside. The Nigerian Senate has confirmed Sylvester Uwakuche as Comptroller General of the Nigerian Correctional Center. His confirmation followed the presentation of a report by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Interior, Adams Oshomole. Hosanna Okoriafo has the details.
In his presentation, Senator Oshomole says the nominee was screened and found suitable for the job based on his qualifications and the fact that no petition was received questioning his competence.
He found the nominee suitable for the position of Comptroller General, CG. No petition or incriminating report was received against the nominee. Number 3, the nominee possessed the requisite qualification, educational qualification, for the position of Comptroller General. Number 4, the nominee displayed a high level of intelligence and showed the temerity to hold the office of Comptroller General.
In a remark, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, congratulated Uwakuche and urged him to bring to an end incidents of jailbreaks across the country.
Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mr. Uwakuche, Sylvester Ndidi, MNI, MFR, for appointment as Comptroller General, Nigerian Correctional Service? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Hosanna Karafo reporting for Global Television.
The Nigerian Police Force says it has significantly made giant strides in combating crime nationwide, with numerous arrests linked to serious offenses. During a press briefing in Abuja, Force Police Relations Officer ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi highlighted key achievements of the Force Intelligence and Investigation Intelligence Response Team, FIFIRT. Kikelomo Okere has the details.
The Force Public Relations Officer, Muyiwa Adejobi, reels out that between February 2025 and now, the Force has arrested 602 armed robbery suspects, 385 kidnapping suspects, 557 murder homicide suspects, 215 individuals for unlawful possession of firearms, 286 rape suspects, and 276 suspected cultists.
286 rape suspects, 276 suspected cultists, and recovery of 333 various firearms, 6,422 ammunition of various calibers. The force was also able to recover 200 stolen vehicles and rescue 324 victims of kidnapping.
Adejobi says on March 11, 2025, the Intelligence Response Team operative encountered an ambush at Oshara Garden, a boundary between Kogi and Edo State, using tactic superiority to overpower the armed kidnappers, arresting 8 suspects. The operative recovered 1 AK-47 rifles, 29 rounds, an Israel pump-action rifle, 4 cartridges, 2 pump-action rifle, 72 cartridges, among others.
The suspects are with us. We are still working on them, but we cannot display them, like I said, in line with the directive of the IGP and, of course, in line with global best practices of handling rights and protecting rights of suspects.
ACP Adejobi reaffirmed the Nigerian Police Force commitment to protecting lives and property, urging citizens to support law enforcement by providing timely and accurate information. It therefore warns criminals that the force remain relentless in the pursuit of justice and will continue to dismantle criminal networks. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
Thank you, Kike, for that report. The Special Advisor on Information and Strategy to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Bayo Ononuga, has dismissed the assertion by former Anambra Governor Peter Obi that democracy has collapsed, describing it as hyperbolic and lacking logical foundation. Ononuga, in a statement on X, criticized Obi's comments during a colloquium to mark the 60th birthday of former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives and ex-Imo Governor Emeka Ihedioha. He argued that democracy in Nigeria has remained resilient over the years and has continued to strengthen since 1999. President Bola Tinubu has congratulated former President Goodluck Jonathan on receiving the 2025 Sohek Peace Founders Award. In a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, Tinubu commended Jonathan for his dedication to promoting peace and democracy. The statement reveals that Dr. Jonathan's winning and Sohek's Peace Award forms his bold effort in peace building and promoting democracy in Africa and beyond. Over now to suspended River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has raised the alarm over fake reports of pipeline explosions in the state, urging security agencies to investigate and take action against those spreading false information. In a statement issued by his Chief Press Secretary Nelson Chukwudi, Fubara dismissed viral videos of alleged attacks on oil and gas facilities as fake and malicious, warning against attempts to incite chaos. He stressed his commitment to maintaining peace in the state. The sole administrator of River State Vice Admiral retired Ibok Ete Ekwe Abbas has announced the resignation of the head of service, Dr. George Ueke, describing the development as sad. The administrator appreciated the immense contributions of Ueke in the short period he served the administration and wished him well in his future endeavors. Abbas said in an interim, Dr. Elaine Brown, Permanent Secretary, Welfare Office of the Head of Service, had been appointed in acting capacity until the emergence of a new head of service. The Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, has inaugurated the first phase training for 800 Special Forces personnel tasked with conducting high-impact operations with precision, speed, and efficiency. Badaru were inaugurating the Special Operation Forces for the Armed Forces of Nigeria at Camp Kabala in Jaji Military Cantonment, Kaduna State, says they would be engaged in rapid response missions. He also says that the initiative was part of new strategies to address the lingering security issues in the country. The Niger Delta Progressive Youth Leadership Foundation has called for a peaceful resolution to the ongoing political crisis in Rivers State, while raising concerns about the legality of the state's emergency declared by Tinubu. They stated this while briefing journalists in Abuja. Our political correspondent, Edikin Michael, has a report.
The group expressed support for mediation efforts to resolve the crisis, emphasizing the need for dialogue between Governor Similai Fubara, the FCT minister, and the House of Assembly. The group also raised concerns about the suspension of elected officials, calling for adherence to the Nigerian Constitution in any declaration of emergency.
According to the 1999 Constitution, a state of emergency can be declared under the following conditions: if Nigeria is at war, if the country faces an imminent threat of invasion or involvement in war, if there is a breakdown of public order and safety in any part of the country, if there is a clear and present danger of such breakdown, if a disaster or natural calamity has occurred or is imminent, if any situation arising that poses a significant threat to Nigeria's existence, if a state governor requests a state of emergency or fail to act within the responsible time, allowing the president to make such decision.
The forum also criticized political misadvising from some officials and the failure of the National Assembly to intervene, but stressed that a state of emergency could be misused for political manipulation with potentially detrimental consequences for democracy.
The power to declare a state of emergency in any part of Nigeria or even across the entire country must be exercised in accordance with the provision of the 1999 Constitution as amended, and must not be exercised in a flagrant violation of the same Constitution.
The group, like other concerned Nigerians, called on President Tinubu to monitor the actions of political appointees, ensuring they align with his administration's goals, particularly in the lead-up to the 2027 re-election, while reaffirming their commitments to defending Nigeria's constitutional democracy and supporting the Southern Nigeria presidency until 2031. Edika Michael for Global TV News.
Thank you, Edikan, for that report. You are watching the live broadcast of News Prime. When News Prime returns Australia to unveil new stadium for 2032 Olympic Games. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is News Prime on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, the Ministry of Finance has announced a strategic collaboration with the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development to address illicit financial flows and strengthen Nigeria's economic framework. This partnership was formalized during a courtesy visit by Carlos Kundel, head of Middle East and African Division of OECD, to Wale Edun, Nigeria's Honorable Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. According to a statement shared on the Ministry on Finance's X account, the OECD emphasizes growing engagement in Africa through partnership with the African Union, regional blocs, and direct country-level initiatives. The United Kingdom's Finance Minister Rachel Reeves has announced plans to reduce civil service running costs by 15% over the next 4 years, a move expected to save €2.2 billion annually. The initiative aims to streamline administrative and bureaucratic functions that expanded during the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking on the postponed reforms, Reeves emphasized the government's commitment to redirecting resources towards priority areas such as capital spending and the National Health Service. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ondo State Command, says it has uncovered an illegal crude oil reservoir in the state. This is contained in a statement by the spokesperson for the command, DSC Daniel Ademebo, and made available to newsmen. Ademebo explained that illegal crude oil reservoir was uncovered during a joint operation with the Nigerian Army and Tita Security Service. On the foreign news now, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron will hold another meeting on the coalition of the willing on Thursday. In the aftermath of Saudi Arabia talks, the European leaders, along with their allies, aim to provide possible solutions to ensure any potential ceasefire agreement can be maintained and give Ukraine confidence about its future security. In a statement shared, a Downing Street spokesperson said Starmer was continually updating the White House on meetings with its allies following conversations on military planning. Kyiv says up to 30 Russian troops were killed in an airstrike on an element of military infrastructure in Russia's Kursk region. As a result of the strike, it was completely destroyed. The Ukrainian General Staff says in a statement, adding that the strike degrades the enemy's ability to conduct operations against Ukraine's defense forces in Sumy and Kursk region. Ukraine launched an incursion into Kursk region on August last year, but over the recent weeks, its forces have been withdrawing under pressure from the Russians. And now on sports stories, now the Akwa Ibom State government has announced free tickets for the Super Eagles 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Zimbabwe at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, Uyo. In a statement, the state's Commissioner for Sports, Paul Bassi, said Governor Umo Eno had purchased all 30,000 tickets to mobilize support for the national team. Bassi says in line with his determination and promise to mobilize support for the victory of the Super Eagles of Nigeria against the Warriors of Zimbabwe, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Umo Eno has purchased 30,000 tickets for football fans and supporters ahead of the 2026 World Cup qualification match scheduled for Tuesday, March 25th, 2025 today at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, Uyo. Australia will build a 63,000-seat stadium and plush indoor swimming venue for the 2032 Olympic Games in Brisbane, officials announced after shelving onshore earlier plans. Queensland Premier David Casafol detailed a great deal of Olympic upgrades that included the new Brisbane Stadium in the heart of the city, an aquatic centre that could host 25,000 fans. The Queensland capital was awarded the 2032 Summer Olympics and Paralympics in July 2021, returning the Games to Australia for a third time after Melbourne 1956 and then Sydney 2000. As we end the Global TV News Prime, let's take a quick look at our top stories again. Justice Obiara Uatu of the Federal High Court in Abuja stepped down from a case involving suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. And in business, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Ondo State Command says it has uncovered an illegal crude oil reservoir in the state. And on the foreign scene, Kyiv says up to 30 Russian troops were killed in an airstrike on an element of military infrastructure in Russia's Kursk region. And finally, in sports, the Akwa Ibom State government has announced free tickets for the Super Eagles 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Zimbabwe at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, Uyo. That's it on Global TV News Prime. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @GlobalTVNG. You can download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching.